Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Uyi Agumofwegbe. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, and free to air all night concerts. President Bola Tinubu has decorated the acting Chief of Army Staff, Olufemi Oloyede, as Lieutenant General. The short ceremony took place in the President's Office complex at the State House in Abuja. Tinubu decorated acting Chief of Army Staff Oloyede as the sniper from the President's communications team. The President had appointed Oloyede as the acting Chief of Army Staff last Wednesday, as his predecessor, Taoreed Lagbaja, remains indisposed for weeks. Vice President Kashif Shettima has advised young Nigerian men not to allow themselves to be used to perpetrate violence and destroy public and private property. Speaking at the presidential villa in Abuja while receiving the minors that participated in the protest following their release after President Bola Tinubu's order, the Vice President says mainly private and public properties suffered losses during the protest. He noted that despite evidence against the minors, President Tinubu directed their release because he is a caring leader. Shettima also called on governors and other public office holders to rehabilitate the minors and make them useful members of society. The Federal High Court in Abuja has discharged and acquitted 71 teenagers from Kano State who were arrested during the End Bad Governance protest in August 2024. Justice Obiora Egwat, who struck out the charge after application for the discontinuance was moved by Mohammed Bubakar Counsel to the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi. Elsewhere, the minors arrested and detained over their involvement in the End Bad Governance protest have arrived at Presidential Villa Abuja to meet with Vice President Kashif Shettima, as is expected to hand them over to their respective governors who are expected to facilitate their movement from Abuja to their respective states. The governors of Kaduna, Uba, Sani and Kano, Abba Yusuf, were on the ground at the Presidential Villa alongside Ministers of Education, Tunji Alausa, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Nentawe Yiltada, and Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal. Let's look at other stories for you. Minister of Education, Dr. Morufu Olatunji Alausa, has reversed his predecessor's policy of 18 years as entry age for university admission. The policy, initiated by Professor Tahir Mamman, former Minister of Education, had generated controversy. Briefing journalists upon assumption of office, Alausa says the policy was detrimental to the federal government's efforts to reduce the number of out-of-school children in the country. The new minister also said henceforth Nigeria's education system will be 80% practical and 20% classroom and theoretical. Alausa said practical education will help to curb the unemployment situation in Nigeria, as tertiary institutions will not continue churning out graduates on a yearly basis without jobs. Chairman, Tangaza Local Government Area of Sokoto State, Isa Salisu Kalenjeni, has raised alarm over a foreign-based armed religious group occupying a forest across 5 local government areas in Sokoto. Speaking to Newsman, he said that members of the group had been preaching and imposing some laws in the neighboring villages, as well as offering 1 million naira to youth for membership. The group, locally known as Lakarua, was said to have migrated from Libya, Mali, and Niger Republic and camped at Swani Forest, which stretches up to Niger Republic. A governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, has signed into law the supplementary budget for 2024 to meet the new financial commitments of the state government. The supplementary budget of 96 billion 788,109 naira has approved by the State House of Assembly or signed by the governor at the Executive Council chambers of the governor's office in Akure, the state's capital. Queen Agaba has details.
Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa says the supplementary budget captures the payment of the new minimum wage of 73,000 naira recently approved for workers, as well as the salaries of newly recruited workers across various sectors. He says the supplementary budget reflects the determination of his administration to cater for the welfare of workers and the overall development of the state. Lamide Oladiji applauds the leadership style of the governor and the various milestones he has achieved since assumption of office.
They will achieve the implementation. There was need to amend the year 2024 appropriation law to accommodate the minimum wage and other developmental projects across the state. This feat is not unconnected to the desire of the legislation to continually prioritize the welfare of the good people of Ondo State in benefiting and enjoy the dividend of democracy.
The governor also signed into law the bill providing for the expansion of the board of the Ondo State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission and the amendment of the Ondo State House of Assembly Service Commission law, saying the new law will ensure inclusivity and better equitable representation from the mandate areas. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
Queen Agaba reporting there. Thank you. The Federal Ministry of Works has directed Julius Berger, the contractor handling Section 1 rehabilitation of the Abuja-Kaduna-Zaria-Kano dual carriageway, to evacuate the project site. This followed a 14-day final termination notice issued to the company, dismissing any possibility of further negotiations. The ministry says the termination is based on non-compliance with the reviewed cost, scope and terms, stoppage of work and refusal to remobilize to the site as directed. In a statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations, Mohammed Ahmed, the ministry noted that negotiations had been ongoing for several months without any significant progress. Let's return to Ondo State now, where Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has assured civil servants in the state that despite the financial challenges, his administration will never consider downsizing the workforce. He made this assertion during the 2024 public lecture held at the International Center for Culture and Events, the Dome in Akure, Ondo State capital.
Governor Aiyedatiwa acknowledged the vital role the public service plays in national development, particularly in African countries. He stated that the public service needs to adapt and innovate to meet modern challenges, stating that the time has come for the service to be more proactive, innovative, dynamic, and technology-driven. He stated that the capacity of the institutions and their operators must be enhanced for effective and efficient service delivery.
Let me assure you that our commitment to prompt and regular payment of salaries, allowances, and pensions is sacrosanct. I want to assure you that even with the financial burden that all of these may attract, our administration will never, ever contemplate downsizing the workforce.
The governor also commended public servants for their dedication and cooperation over the past 10 months of his administration. He urged public servants to prioritize resource generation and management, advising them to block financial leakages and discourage frivolous expenditures.
In all honesty, the public service requires to be rejigged and equipped to upscale its roles and processes to meet the trends of the best work practices in public administration.
Earlier, the head of service, Bayo Philip, stressed the essential role of the public service in fostering forward-thinking governance and highlighted the administration's commitment to regular salary payments, pensions, and the provision of 2024 leave bonuses. He noted that this year's celebration emphasized the importance of public service in shaping a sustainable future for Ondo State.
We will strive at all times to discharge our responsibilities to facilitate the accomplishment of the policy focus of this administration. We will live up to the demands of our new mantra. Don't deliver short, don't deliver.
The governor further reiterated his administration's commitment to continue to prioritize the welfare of public servants, even in the midst of other financial demands. Uyi Agmofuegbe, reporting for Global Television News.
Zamfara State government has provided financial aid to students stranded at the Cyprus International University. The State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Wadatao Madawaki, speaking at a press conference in Abuja, expressed concern over the difficulties faced by the students. He highlighted the challenges the students encountered, emphasizing the need for transparency and accountability. Madawaki said 93 Zamfara indigents were sponsored to Cyprus International University by the previous administration led by former governor Bello Metawale to study various courses in 2020, noting that the sponsorship process was marred by dishonesty and outright selfishness. Ondo State Governor and the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate Lucky Aiyedatiwa says his administration will prevent cattle rustling and insecurity in the state to enable farmers go to the farm. The governor made this known during the campaign tour in Akure, Koko, North Local Government Area. Kikelomo Okere completes the story.
One common issue raised by all traditional rulers of Ondo State during the governor's visit to Akure North to solicit their support in the upcoming gubernatorial election is insecurity. At Iluabu community, Governor Aiyedatiwa says his administration will strengthen the operations of Amotekun to check the issues of insecurity and kidnapping on the farmlands.
Measures have been put in place already to prevent this ravaging by cattle through our Amotekun, and we are strengthening their operations the more so that the issue of farm produce being ravaged and consumed by cattle will be the thing of the past.
It therefore warns any criminal element found wanting will face the wrath of the law.
But we try as much as possible in our state to make sure that crime rate is reduced considerably, and in case there's anyone, the security agents will be able to make arrest and prosecute whoever is found wanting.
The traditional rulers have all chewed their weight behind All Progressive Congress governorship aspirants, promising that the forthcoming election will be free and fair. From Akure, Kikelomo Okere, Global Television News.
Thank you, Kikelomo. The federal government, donor agencies and private individuals have been urged to extend same priority and attention to the Niger Delta as it gave to Borno State in the wake of recent flood disaster in the state. Former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Yakini Nabena, made the call in a statement issued in Abuja. He said the region urgently requires such attention due to ongoing devastating effects of flooding, which has destroyed lives and livelihoods. Nabena specifically appealed to the new Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Nentawe Yewatda, and agencies like the National Emergency Management Agency, the National Commission for Refugees, among others, to not close their eyes against the ongoing disaster in the Niger Delta region. He lamented that farmers in Bayelsa and Delta states are currently counting their losses as floods have washed away their cassava farms. He called on government at all levels to not forget that all the what is causing disasters in the north and other regions choose to settle in the Niger Delta region, hence the need for more attention. The Christian Association of Nigeria Ondo State Chapter has urged the governor and the governorship candidates of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, to promote justice, equity, and fairness in all aspects of his governance in the state. The president of the association, Reverend Father Olorunfemi Ologunwa, made a call at a church service to pray for peaceful conduct of Ondo State governorship election. Here is Kikelomo Okere's report.
Speaking at the event, the President, Christian Association of Nigeria Ondo State Chapter, Olorunfemi Ologunwa, urged the governor and the governorship aspirants of All Progressive Congress to address the need of the marginalized and vulnerable people. The clergy further urged the governor to foster economic development, which will create job opportunities and improve living standards.
We, all of us, we urge you, as we aspire for this enviable position in the state, to continue to uphold the principles of integrity, the principles of justice, the principles of compassion.
The clergy further urged the governor to strive and maintain harmony among all citizens, regardless of their religion belief.
As the position you are seeking to acquire is not only to govern, just as you said, and you said you promised God. Thank you very much. But to serve the people, ensuring their well-being and prosperity.
In his response, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa pleaded with the brethren to continue to pray and support him in his journey of governing the state.
I'm pleading with my brethren in the Lord, our leaders, joint leaders, to continue to pray for us, to support us in our journey in governing this state. And now that we're also going to
the Christian Association of Nigeria Ondo State Chapter reiterated their commitment to pray for leaders who prioritize the welfare of their people. From Akure, Kikelomo Okeri, Global Television News.
Well, thank you everyone for staying with us here on News Cycle. Sincere apologies for the glitch with audio at the tail of that report. In the meantime, let's turn to business for you. The average price of imported high-quality rice sold loose has surged by 144.77% year-on-year as the federal government delays implementing its duty-free feed policy. This is according to selected feed prices report from the National Bureau of Statistics. In July of 2024, the federal government had announced a 150-day duty-free import window for feed commodities as a stepped-up effort to tackle rising inflation, which had impoverished many Nigerians. The commodities include maize, husked brown, rice, wheat, and cowpeas. Excuse me. President of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, Billy Gillis-Harris, says oil marketers have clarified that they are not opposed to Dangote Refinery and are open to purchasing refined premium motor spirits from the Dangote facility. Gillis-Harris made the clarification in an interview with journalists, stating that oil marketers would buy products from the refinery if all market conditions were properly negotiated and agreed upon. He also mentioned that marketers plan to meet with Dangote Refinery to solidify discussions and establish the groundwork for a cooperative working relationship. On the foreign scene, election day voting has begun in the United States after an extraordinary presidential race that will either make Kamala Harris the first black woman president in the country's history or hand Donald Trump a comeback that sends shockwaves around the world. In this video on your screen, people queue and begin to vote at a polling station in Dearborn, Michigan, as Americans seize their final opportunity to participate in the fiercely contested 2024 presidential race between Democrat Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump. As the first polling stations opened, Democratic Vice President Harris, 60, and Republican former President Trump, 78, were dead even in the tightest and most volatile White House contest of modern times. The government of Equatorial Guinea has restricted its citizens from downloading and sharing multimedia files using mobile data on WhatsApp. This decision followed the guidelines that the country's government gave to telecommunications operators when it urged them to implement measures to restrict access to inappropriate content. This is coming after the Director General, National Financial Investigation Agency in Equatorial Guinea, Baltasar Egonga, was arrested for allegedly recording over 400 sex tapes of the wives of notable people in the country. The scandal emerged in the course of a fraud investigation against the 54-year-old economist, which resulted in the search of his house and office on impromptu notice by the agency's officials, who came across several CDs that later revealed his sex habits with different married women. The videos reportedly include encounters with high-profile individuals such as his brother's wife, his cousin, the sister of the President of Equatorial Guinea, Director General of Police's wife, and about 20 of the country's ministers' wives, among others. The footage discovered in his personal office was said to have been recorded with consent and has since been leaked online, causing a media uproar. The United Kingdom Health Security Agency has confirmed 2 additional cases of Clade 2 mpox, bringing the total number of cases in the country to 3. These new infections have been traced to household contacts of the initial case, emphasizing the virus's potential for rapid spread in close contact environments, and both patients are currently receiving specialist care in London. Despite these developments, health officials are maintaining that the overall risk to the general UK population remains low. Meanwhile, a new UK-wide law aimed at creating the first smoke-free generation will be introduced in Parliament as part of a world-leading ban. The proposals come after New Zealand revoked plans to introduce a so-called generational smoking ban that would have stopped sales of tobacco to anyone born after 2008. Health Secretary Wes Streeton said this is a groundbreaking piece of public health legislation, which means that the UK is creating the first ever smoke-free generation, so children growing up will never legally be able to buy cigarettes. Sounds like a revolutionary piece of legislation there, but let's leave that for a second and turn to sport for you. Former Real Madrid striker Karim Benzema believes Kylian Mbappe must adapt to playing as a central striker in the Spanish capital, as he cannot displace Vinicius Jr. on the left wing. Mbappe completed a dream move to Madrid this summer after the end of his Paris Saint-Germain contract, but has not yet hit top form under Carlo Ancelotti. The coach has kept Brazil international Vinicius in his preferred position on the wing and has placed Mbappe, who favors playing on the left, in the center. Benzema told Spanish television show that he is not a central striker, even with the national team, as every time he plays as a number 9, he does not feel comfortable because it is not his natural position. In tennis, defending champion Novak Djokovic has pulled out of the ATP finals because of an ongoing injury. The 37-year-old Serb, who has won a record 7 titles at the event, had already qualified as the 6th best player of the ATP Tour this season. Djokovic wrote on social media that he was really looking forward to being at the ATP finals, but due to ongoing injury, he will not be playing. Djokovic, who has won a record 24 Grand Slam men's single titles, indicated last month that competing in the tour's year-end finals was not a priority. They say you leave the stage when the ovation is loudest, but that's your news cycle tonight. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV, channel 365, Star Times 276, and free to air on Nightcomsat. We encourage you to follow us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG, as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. I am Uyag Mofwegwe. Just again to let you know, at top of the hour, we will join Edika Michael to bring you today's episode of Big Talk.